Kendrick Lamar just quietly did something so legal, so surgical, so silently devastating that I have been sitting with this paperwork for 3 days trying to figure out how to explain it to y'all without sounding like I lost my mind. Because what allegedly just got filed at a state clerk's office changes the entire conversation about hip-hop, about power, about who owns what, and about who is about to lose everything. 3 days. I have been staring at a screen for 3 days, cross-referencing timestamps, reading legal boilerplate line by line like it was a double entendre verse. And the deeper I go, the more I realize this is not a story about paperwork. This is a story about a man who stopped playing the game everybody else is still arguing about, and started quietly buying the stadium the game is played in. Listen. While the whole internet spent 30 days screaming at each other about whether pgLang is really worth $500 million, while Twitter was doing what Twitter does, Kendrick Lamar's people, reportedly led by Dave Free, allegedly slid a stack of trademark filings across a clerk's desk that nobody in the mainstream trade press has picked up yet. Not XXL. Not Billboard. Not Complex. Nobody. And I need y'all to understand how insane that silence is. Trademark filings are public. Public. Anybody with a laptop and a search bar can pull them. Journalists pull them every single week for sneaker brands, for celebrity perfume lines, for reality TV stars launching lip gloss. But somehow the biggest rapper alive files paperwork that could redraw the map of the entire music business, and the room goes silent. And here's what doesn't make sense to me. This is a company that just cleared $369 million on tour. This is a company whose artist just went nuclear on the biggest rapper of the last decade. And somehow, the paperwork that reveals its next move is sitting in a public database, and not one major hip-hop publication has bothered to look? Now let me tell you what the headlines won't, because that's where the real story lives. There is allegedly a sixth division inside the pgLang machine. It's already breathing. Reports suggest it's been breathing for months. And the reason nobody is writing about it is because, and this is the part that got me, the sixth floor was never engineered to be announced. It was engineered to be found. Quietly. On purpose. In the dark. While everybody else was distracted by album drops and lawsuit headlines. Think about that strategy for a second. Most companies want the press release. Most companies want the launch event, the logo reveal, the sizzle reel. This company allegedly built an entire division and then did the exact opposite. They buried it in plain sight in a government database, knowing that the only people who would ever find it are the people who actually do the reading. And by the time the reading is done, the build is already finished. That's not secrecy. That's patient zero levels of discipline. And wait till you hear what the trademark filings allegedly authorize this company to do. Because that is where this whole OVO versus pgLang story stops being a rap beef and starts being a corporate assassination in slow motion. Get comfortable. Phone on Do Not Disturb. Because by the end of this video, y'all are going to see this entire decade of hip-hop completely differently. Okay, so let's set the table. For anybody who's been living under a rock, and no shade, some of y'all have jobs and children and lives, I get it, let me catch you up on the players real quick. Kendrick Lamar, the Compton-born, Pulitzer Prize-winning rapper, Grammy-hoarding, halftime show headlining Kung Fu Kenny himself, co-founded pgLang back in 2020 with his longtime creative partner Dave Free. Dave Free, the man everybody calls the quiet one, the operations mind, the shadow, the Batman to Kendrick's, well, other Batman. Because let me tell you, these two are not running a label. They're running a Wayne Enterprises situation, and we're all just now catching up. And the partnership matters, okay? Understand the division of labor here, because it's the whole ball game. Kendrick generates the gravitational pull, the art, the moments, the cultural earthquakes. Dave Free allegedly converts that gravity into infrastructure. One man makes the weather. The other man owns the forecast, the radar station, and the insurance company. That's the model. On the other side of this story sits Drake, the Toronto rapper, the certified lover boy, the streaming king, the man who reportedly just sold 50% of his own company OVO sound to a private equity firm called Authentic Brands Group. Yes, the same Authentic Brands that owns Reebok. That owns Forever 21. That owns the estates of Marilyn Monroe and Elvis Presley. Baby, when I tell you the way my jaw dropped when I connected those dots. Now the surface story everybody thinks they know goes like this. Kendrick and Drake had a lyrical war. Not Like Us won the summer. Drake sued Universal. The lawsuit reportedly got dismissed and everybody moved on. Right? Wrong. But here's the thing nobody is talking about. While the timeline was arguing about who won a rap battle, the actual battle, the boring, paperwork-heavy, comptroller's office battle, was being fought and reportedly won on the corporate side. And Drake's team allegedly did not see the ambush coming until the trap was already closed. Because that's the thing about ambushes, y'all. They don't look like ambushes from the inside. They look like quiet months. They look like no news. They look like your rival going silent after a victory lap. And then one day you open a database or your lawyer opens a database, and you realize the other team wasn't resting. They were filing. Now that's the surface story. Let me tell you what's underneath. Because this is messy. Let me walk y'all through the 5 known floors of the pgLang empire first, so when I hit you with floor 6, it lands with the weight it deserves. Floor 1, the label imprint. This is the part everybody sees. pgLang signs artists. Their newest signee, Amari, reportedly rolled out his debut project called Papercut in a 12-hour global window. No radio push. No teaser cycle. No press tour. No cooperation from traditional gatekeepers. Just boom. The whole world at once. Try to comprehend the infrastructure that requires. Try to comprehend the leverage that requires. And don't gloss past what that 12-hour window actually means. A traditional rollout takes months of label machinery, radio servicing, playlist pitching, press embargoes, regional staggered releases. To compress all of that into 12 hours worldwide with 0 leaks means somebody built distribution pipes that don't depend on anybody else's permission. That is floor 1 quietly telling you what floor 6 is going to be. Remember that. Floor 2, the management arm. Kendrick himself sits dead center. Multiple industry sources reportedly put the surrounding roster somewhere between 8 and 12 names that have never had their pgLang affiliation publicly confirmed. Meaning there are allegedly artists we all know, artists you stream every week, who are being managed by this company and the paperwork was never announced. Are y'all hearing this? 8 to 12 names. Let that number breathe. That's not a roster, that's a shadow cabinet. And the fact that none of it is public means the announcement, whenever it comes, however it comes, is a loaded weapon sitting on a shelf. They can fire it whenever the moment is right. Floor 3, the creative agency. This is where the NBA Players Association campaign was born. This is reportedly where the film work with Trey Parker and Matt Stone, yes, the South Park guys, got quietly incubated over dinners nobody photographed. That arm doesn't post. It doesn't need to. That's how you know it's real. Real money doesn't announce. Real money whispers. And that's not even the craziest part. Floor 4, the touring and live division. The Grand National Tour closed out at a reported $369.60 million. The Seattle date alone cleared a reported $15.373 million in one night. One night. That's more than most rappers make in a career. Tell me how that math makes sense next to a company that's just a vanity project. Oh wait, and here's what the touring floor really proves. It's not the gross, it's the control. When you own your own touring operation, you own the ticket data, the merch margins, the venue relationships, the routing intelligence. Every night of that tour was allegedly also a data harvest. Every city told them exactly where the demand lives down to the zip code. Hold that thought. Comes back later. Floor 5. This is what people inside the walls allegedly call the vault. GNX era unreleased material. Session tapes. Cutting room floor versus what more than one insider has reportedly described as the largest privately held stockpile of unreleased hip-hop music in the modern era. Let that sit with you for a second. Not owned by a label. Not owned by Universal. Owned by pgLang. Owned by Kendrick and Dave free themselves. 5 floors. That alone is unprecedented. That alone is allegedly why every credible industry analyst has already pushed this valuation past the $500 million line. Now let me tell you what the headlines won't, because that's where the real story lives. There is allegedly a 6th floor. And the 6th floor is not a floor. The 6th floor is the foundation slab for a completely different building being poured, while everybody else is still arguing about the roof. And I want to be precise about this, because precision matters when lawyers are allegedly involved. The 6th floor is not a rumor somebody whispered to me in a parking garage. The 6th floor is a paper trail. Filings have categories. Filings have class codes. Filings spell out, in the driest, most boring legal language ever written by a human being, exactly what a company is reserving the right to do. And what these filings allegedly reserve is everything. Here's where the story stops being interesting and starts being terrifying for a very specific room full of executives in Manhattan. Because this was not a spontaneous filing. This was not some random paperwork somebody tossed in the mail on a Tuesday. This was, allegedly, choreographed months in advance, and the timing gives it up. The trademark filings reportedly landed in the exact same window as the Papercut rollout. Same window as the Grand National Tour ramp. Same window that Universal Music Group was, per multiple sources familiar with the negotiation, allegedly renegotiating Kendrick's royalty rate upward on Not Like Us, after the dismissed Drake lawsuit. Do y'all see what I'm seeing? At the exact moment Kendrick Lamar was allegedly pulling more money out of the major label system than any rapper of his generation has ever pulled, He was simultaneously funding the infrastructure that would allow him to never, ever need that system again. He was taking the check and building the exit. At the same time, in the same quarter, most artists spend their whole career choosing between label money and independence. This man allegedly figured out how to use the label money to purchase the independence. That is chess at an altitude most of this industry can't even breathe at. That is not artistry. That is not making music. That is corporate ninjutsu at a level the hip-hop industry has reportedly never watched a rapper execute in real time. Now this is just my take, but I'm calling this the Trojan elevator theory. Because pgLang didn't build a competitor. They built an elevator inside the major label building, and the elevator only goes one direction, up and out. But it gets worse. These filings are reportedly not defensive. Defensive filings are what you see when a rapper trademarks their own name so nobody slaps it on a bootleg t-shirt in a mall kiosk. What Dave Free allegedly filed for reads like a company preparing to run a full-service, vertically integrated independent media platform, one that could, hypothetically and legally, host its own catalog on its own servers under its own terms with its own royalty splits on its own release cadence. Read that sentence again. A streaming platform, owned by the artist, with his own catalog, hosted on his own servers. And look, I know some of y'all just felt a chill because you remember what happened the last time an artist tried to own the pipe. The industry laughed. The industry said it couldn't be done. The industry said the artists need the platforms more than the platforms need the artists. But that was before one artist controlled a $369 million tour, a global 12-hour release machine, a film pipeline, and allegedly the largest private vault in the genre. The math is different now. The man is different now. Now let me tell you what the headlines won't, because that's where the real story lives. Let me connect 3 dots and I want you to draw the line yourself. Dot number 1. pgLang is already producing film content through Paramount, and the Trey Parker Matt Stone project has reportedly been strategically delayed to align with the tour ramp and an awards run. Dot number 2. pgLang is already producing music and distributing it globally within a 12-hour window with zero major label infrastructure in the middle. Dot number 3. pgLang has now allegedly filed for trademarks in the streaming platform category. Film, music, distribution, streaming. Draw the line between those points and tell me what building shows up on the blueprint. That's Disney in 1955. That's Netflix in 2007. That's Apple in 2001. That is every single one of those pivot moments right before a legacy industry got walked into a woodchipper by a company that had quietly, with no press release, no cover story, no announcement, been assembling the infrastructure to replace it. And here's the detail that turns those 3 dots into a straight line. Remember the touring data I told you to hold? A streaming platform's most expensive problem is knowing what people want and where they are. pgLang allegedly just spent 2 years collecting that answer city by city, ticket by ticket, stream by stream. They don't have to guess who the audience is. They already scanned their tickets. And nobody is writing about this, because the mainstream trade press is still consumed with printing first-week Iceman numbers for Drake, and pretending the story of the year is a chart position. Let me talk about Dave Free for a second because Dave Free is the reason the 6th floor is even possible. Everybody in this culture keeps calling Dave Free the guy in the shadows, the operations mind, the fixer, the one who doesn't talk. And listen, I love that for him. But we've got to stop underselling this man. Because what Dave Free actually is, in plain English, is a full-service corporate architect who happened to grow up next to one of the greatest lyricists of the modern era. That's not a sidekick. That's a co-founder who could run a Fortune 500. His fingerprints are allegedly on everything. Dave Free is reportedly why the Not Like Us music video was directed the exact way it was directed. Dave Free is reportedly why the Super Bowl halftime show was structured the exact way it was structured. And I mean that show was giving dissertation energy, y'all. That was a doctoral thesis performed on live television, and Dave Free's fingerprints are allegedly all over the storyboarding. Go back and watch that halftime show with new eyes. Every camera cut was a sentence. Every set piece was a paragraph. Every guest appearance was a footnote in an argument about who owns the culture. That is not creative direction. That is narrative warfare executed at 100 million viewers, and it reportedly came out of the brain of a man whose name most casual fans still can't pick out of a lineup. By design. Always by design. Dave Free is reportedly why Papercut hit the world in 12 hours instead of a 12-month press cycle. And I'm telling you, with everything I know about how filings like this get organized inside a legal team, Dave Free is going to be the name on the signature line when the next public announcement drops. Because here's the piece the culture has not fully absorbed. Dave Free is not building a music career. Dave Free is allegedly building an institution. And the institution has Kendrick Lamar as its flagship. But Kendrick is not the ceiling. Kendrick is the front door. And institutions, y'all, institutions are built to outlive their founders. Labels die when the star cools off. Institutions just promote the next star. If Dave Free is really building what the paperwork says he's building, then pgLang isn't Kendrick's company. Kendrick is pgLang's first proof of concept. Let that one marinate. So let me ask you this, where did the money come from? Who advised the trademark strategy? Who signed off on the Paramount deal architecture? How did Universal miss the reallocation? And more importantly, why isn't anyone in the mainstream press asking these questions? Now let me tell you what the headlines won't, because that's where the real story lives. Now let me hit y'all with the valuation math, because this is where the outrage starts. If you take the 5 floors we already knew about and price them the way a normal media analyst would, the number reportedly lands around $500 million. $500 million. Already unprecedented. And let's be clear about how conservative that number probably is. That $500 million is priced on what the company has already done. Past tense. Touring gross is already banked. Campaigns already delivered. Catalog already streaming. Valuations based on the rearview mirror are always the lowest number in the room. The real money is priced on the windshield, what's coming. And what's coming is allegedly floor 6. Add the 6th floor, a streaming platform play, and assign it even a modest valuation based on how the market has priced comparable independent media plays over the last 5 years. You're allegedly staring at a number that could triple the valuation inside a 36-month window. Triple. That's north of $1.5 billion. And that number doesn't even include the GNX vault. Doesn't include equity in the ongoing Paramount film. Doesn't include the touring revenue. Doesn't include the merchandising trademarks. So the next time you see a headline 6 months from now saying pgLang crossed the $1 billion mark, remember you heard it here first. The paperwork was in the file cabinet long before the headline. Now let me contrast this against what is reportedly happening on the other side of the rivalry, because this is where the humiliation stops being cultural and becomes structural. While Kendrick and Dave Free are allegedly quietly filing trademarks for an independent media platform, Drake is publicly suing his own label, publicly leaking that he wants to walk away with 43 unreleased songs, and publicly flooding the market with 3 albums in a single day that reportedly got absorbed into a random Tuesday afternoon. One side is building the future. The other side is reacting to the present. One side owns the paperwork. The other side is allegedly trying to escape the paperwork. And here's the part that should make your jaw hit the floor. Multiple industry outlets have already reported that Drake sold 50% of OVO to Authentic Brands Group. 50%. Half of his life's work. Sold. To the same holding company that reportedly gutted Reebok, gutted Forever 21, and monetizes the estates, of Marilyn Monroe and Elvis Presley. That is not a partnership. That is not a growth deal. That is allegedly the opening move of a monetization endgame. Because Authentic Brands doesn't build. Authentic Brands harvests. And I need y'all to really understand the harvest model, because it's elegant and it's brutal. Authentic Brands reportedly buys distressed or plateaued brands, strips the expensive operations, keeps the logo, and then licenses that logo to whoever wants to slap it on a product. The brand becomes a sticker. The company becomes a stamp collection. It is a brilliant business model for the buyer. For the founder whose name is on the door, it's a slow-motion exit dressed up as a headline. And on top of that, the question every real one in the culture should be asking out loud is, why did Drake sell half of the company that carries his own name? The answer, according to people who watch these deal structures for a living, is reportedly that OVO needed a cash injection. And a company that needs a cash injection at the exact moment its founder is still the biggest streaming artist alive? That is a company with bleeding problems the public was not briefed on. Now I'm not saying it's a conspiracy. I'm saying the facts, as alleged, don't support the story being sold to us on Instagram. And if the answers were simple, they would have been given already. But here's the thing nobody is talking about. OVO, the label, has reportedly, for years, been quietly carrying a roster of secondary artists whose commercial output allegedly never justified their signing bonuses, their marketing spends, or their overall overhead. When Drake was pulling in $500 million in touring and streaming, fine, the Drake revenue subsidized the operation. But once the tour cycle wound down, once Iceman reportedly failed to convert into the sustained catalog play OVO's business model requires, and once Universal reportedly reallocated marketing budgets away from OVO and toward pgLang at a rumored 3-to-1 ratio, that subsidy stopped functioning. And let's sit on that rumored 3-to-1 ratio for a second, because if it's even close to true, it's the loudest number in this whole story. Labels are not sentimental. Labels follow heat the way water follows gravity. If the biggest distributor on the planet allegedly decided that one side of this rivalry deserved $3 for every $1 the other side got, that is not a music decision. That is an actuarial table. That is a room full of analysts concluding on paper in writing who the future belongs to. And a label without a subsidy is a label with a math problem. And a math problem always finds its way onto a private equity spreadsheet eventually. Now those 43 unreleased songs? The public narrative has this piece completely misread. In the public conversation, those 43 songs are Drake's leverage. He can walk with them, drop them independently, use them to negotiate his exit. Right? Wrong. In the actual industry conversation, according to how these deal structures are legally organized, those 43 songs are allegedly being valued right now by financial analysts as an asset sitting on OVO's balance sheet. And an asset on the balance sheet of a company that's 50% owned by Authentic Brands is an asset that can be leveraged, licensed, or in the worst-case scenario, sold as part of a bulk catalog play down the line. Read that again. There is a scenario, and it is not a fringe scenario, where Drake's unreleased music ends up owned by a private equity company that licenses it out for sneaker campaigns, streaming docuseries, and whatever other synergy plays Authentic Brands wants to run out of the portfolio. That is not the artistic future Drake told his fans he was building. That is a fire sale wearing a marketing budget. Now let me tell you what the headlines won't, because that's where the real story lives. Kendrick's team has allegedly been operating for the last 2 years, as if this was the inevitable endgame. Every single move, the vertical integration, the 12-hour independent release capability, the trademark filings, the surgical alignment of the film delay with the tour ramp, every single one of those moves is exactly the move you make when you know your primary rival is about to lose control of their own infrastructure. You don't build a self-contained media platform because you want to compete with the majors. You build a self-contained media platform because you know the majors are about to consolidate, get acquired, get gutted, or get liquidated, and you want to be the one sitting on the independent throne when the smoke clears. And notice what Kendrick never did during those 2 years. He never explained the strategy. He never tweeted the blueprint. He never did the podcast circuit announcing his business genius. The man won the most public victory in rap history and then went silent, and now we allegedly know what the silence was for. The silence was the sound of construction. Now I know some of y'all are going to say I'm reaching, and that's fair. But if you don't find this suspicious, that's more concerning to me than anything. Let me give y'all the historical pattern, so you understand this isn't speculation being sold to you for clicks. When Death Row Records got sold, when Bad Boy Records went through its restructuring, when Cash Money Records reportedly hit its accounting crisis, the artist who walked away with the most equity was always the artist who saw the wave coming and positioned before it arrived. Master P did it. Jay-Z did it. Diddy reportedly tried to do it and got tangled inside his own alleged scandals before the exit was clean. And look at what those 3 examples actually teach. Master P reportedly walked away with one of the best distribution deals in rap history because he owned his masters before the majors came knocking. Jay-Z didn't just rap about ownership. He turned his catalog into collateral and his brand into a holding company. The lesson was never be talented. The lesson was always own the thing before the thing becomes valuable. Every generation gets exactly one artist who truly learns that lesson. This generation's student is allegedly Kendrick Lamar. Kendrick Lamar is allegedly running that exact playbook right now. And Drake, according to reports, is running the opposite playbook. The sell 50% to a holding company for a cash injection playbook, which has historically been the opening chapter of the end of the story every single time it's been run before. Here's the scenario that reportedly keeps smart executives up at night. Inside the next 24 to 36 months, Authentic Brands moves in and acquires the remaining 50% of OVO at a distressed valuation. They keep the branding for licensing, that logo is worth money forever. But they release the roster into the wind. Some artists go independent. Some sign with pgLang. Some sign with majors on discounted deals. And Drake, the founder, either has to buy his own trademark back at a premium price he didn't plan for, or watch his life's work get slotted into an Authentic Brands portfolio next to Reebok, Nautica, and a dozen other harvested cultural artifacts. That is not a rap career outcome. That is a cautionary tale outcome. And I want us to sit with the human piece of this for a second, because at the end of the day, these are still people. These are still artists. Drake has kids. Drake has a legacy. Drake has fans who reportedly grew up on his music and have soundtracked entire relationships to it. And whatever y'all feel about him as an MC, the idea that a private equity firm could end up owning that legacy, that should scare every artist in this game. Because if it can happen to the biggest streaming artist alive, it can happen to anybody with a contract. Every young artist watching this right now should be pausing this video and going to read their own paperwork. Seriously. Pause. Go read it. I'll be here when you get back. Thank God nobody's physically hurt in any of this. It's business. It's paperwork. But the cultural damage, the idea that hip-hop's biggest names could allegedly be reduced to line items on a hedge fund spreadsheet, that hits different for those of us who grew up watching this culture get built from nothing. Remember Prince's fight for his masters? Remember Taylor Swift re-recording her entire catalog? This is that same fight, just wearing different clothes. And Kendrick, allegedly, is the first rapper of this generation to see the fight coming before the punch got thrown. Prince warned everybody, y'all. He stood on stages 20 years ago and told artists the internet would be used to own them, and the industry called him difficult. Taylor turned ownership into a public crusade and they called it drama. Now here comes Kendrick Lamar allegedly doing it the third way. No warning, no crusade, no explanation. Just filings. Just signatures. Just silence and a clerk's stamp. Now let me tell you what the headlines won't, because that's where the real story lives. Dave Free reportedly has a document sitting on a hard drive somewhere in a Los Angeles office that has already wargamed the OVO liquidation scenario 6 different ways. What roster spots pgLang picks up? What producers become available? What sync deals get freed up? What touring markets get abandoned? What festival slots open up? That is what real strategy looks like at this altitude. Not making an Instagram post about your latest beef. Sitting in a quiet room with a spreadsheet and modeling out what happens to your rival's company when the private equity vultures finish their meal. And the coldest part? If that document exists, it didn't need to be written out of malice. It needed to be written out of readiness. Because when the OVO situation breaks, whichever direction it breaks, the companies that move in the first 72 hours are the companies that already ran the simulation. Everybody else is just reading the news. That's the whole difference in one sentence, y'all. One camp rehearsed the future in private. The other camp is about to audition for it in public. And by the time the audition starts, the casting decision may have allegedly already been made, in a quiet office on a hard drive months before anybody thought to look. So let's recap what we allegedly know, what we allegedly suspect, and what the paperwork allegedly says. 1. pgLang has 5 confirmed operational floors and reportedly a 6th being built in silence, allegedly authorizing a streaming platform play. 2. Drake reportedly sold 50% of OVO to Authentic Brands Group, a company known for harvesting brands rather than building them. 3. The 43 unreleased songs are allegedly sitting on a balance sheet that Drake doesn't fully control anymore. 4. Kendrick Lamar and Dave Free reportedly spent 2 years positioning for exactly this moment, and the timing of every filing lines up too cleanly to be coincidence. One side is being sold for pennies. The other side is being priced at north of $500 million and climbing. And the difference between those two outcomes isn't talent. It isn't charisma. It isn't radio play. It's architecture. Kendrick and Dave Free allegedly architected a fortress. Drake and his team reportedly accepted a check. And in 10 years, when the culture writes the postmortem on this decade, that single sentence is going to be the entire chapter heading. And understand, none of this required Kendrick to be the better rapper. That part was settled on wax a long time ago. This required him to be the better architect. The beef was the loud part. The filings were the important part. History is going to remember the loud part. The money is going to remember the important part. This story is still developing. And trust me, I'm watching every filing, every leak, every quarterly report, every whisper coming out of Manhattan boardrooms. So let me know what y'all think in the comments, because I know y'all caught something I didn't. Do you think Kendrick and Dave Free actually pull off the streaming platform play? Do you think Authentic Brands takes the other 50% of OVO within 2 years? Do you think Drake sees this coming in time to pivot? Or is it already too late? Drop your take. Argue with each other in the comments. I read every single one, and the sharpest ones make it into the next video. And if you haven't watched my last breakdown on the Not Like Us royalty renegotiation, go watch that one, because this story makes so much more sense when you see that story sitting next to it. When the next filing drops, when the next piece of paperwork surfaces, when the next executive quietly gets fired, I'll be right here. You already know. Stay safe out there. Stay informed. Stay 3 moves ahead. And always remember, now let me tell you what the headlines won't, because that's where the real story lives. I'll talk to y'all soon. Love y'all. Bye. All commentary is alleged. This is entertainment and opinion. Support creators.